Slide that way. Keep going, keep going. Okay, I think we're good.
There we go.
All right, cool. Well, welcome. I'm Lee Jr.
Lee Jr.
And this is Lee Jr. 2.0.
Lee Jr. 2.0.
Yep.
So
My name is Pat Armstrong.
Pat Armstrong.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm the Director of International Strategic Market Research for MedDevice, Inc. Yeah, we're very excited about this potential joint partnership, joint venture coming up here with you guys.
Yeah, we are, as my friend told that, we are the Vice President of Lee Medical Supply. And it's a great opportunity that, we got to know from my dad that, your boss and my dad met at a resort and they came up with a memorandum and they discussed on how to go about it. So we just would like to talk to you. There's no, sign of agreement, anything, but we would like to see how we will take this forward.
Okay, that meets my understanding as well. Because I wasn't involved at the initial negotiation in the initial drafting of the agreement, would you mind telling me a little bit about your company? What you guys produce?
Definitely. So we actually don't produce anything. We are basically a sales company for bandages within the Thailand community. We deal with multiple different. We call ourselves basically Lee Bandage, but we also do operating tables, hospital beds, and some other stuff. And we've built up 30 years of experience here. We've grown it from a very small base. We're now, I would say, medium with about 30 employees that offer direct sales to our downstream customers.
So we have a strong network in the South Asian country, especially on Thailand and other South Asian country, and we work with the manufacturer like you. That's why I know we are very excited, and we work with the manufacturers and help them to sell and distribute their medical devices, considering our great network throughout the South Asian region and countries. So we thought, it's a very win-win partnership that we are going to help you and you are going to help us establishing, our shop in this region for the high-tech medical devices.
I would agree with that. How do you guys feel about the profitability and the margins of the products that you currently sell?
I think we're comfortable with those.
In terms of return, do you feel like going into different products that there's additional margins to gain? Because I feel like the CT scanners and MRI machines that our company could sell through you guys would generate much higher margins, especially since we are the manufacturer and we're not, there's a whole level of wholesalers that we skip out on. So this is going to be a good partnership for the both of us, and that there's greater margins in the products that we're.
That's an interesting point you brought. We have been discussing on that before. When we got to know that we are going to have partnership with you, and we are very flexible on that. We are not specific on. It's a case by case basis, and we are working with other companies also. So we are not very hard or stick to profit on the profit side. We are flexible. And we'll discuss, every year based on how the profits comes up. So that's where our expertise lies, and how we do the business and how we help you to sell your product. So we are flexible on the profit.
Okay, that's good to hear. Just making sure it's okay. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's great to hear. So I understand you guys are a family-run business. Could you tell me a little bit about the importance of your family and what that means going into a potential partnership?
Yeah. So. Our family has, really within Thailand and within our culture, there's not always corruption, but sometimes there's corruption. And by maintaining a family company and hiring within our family, we not only have business relationships, but we also have those family relationships that, to us, that's an even stronger tie of accountability to each other. So using our family and hiring within our family has really been something that's been extremely beneficial to us and to the success of our company, and really to our ability to maintain profitable throughout the years. So.
Okay. Do you ever feel that you may be missing out on other talent, other resources by employing mostly family members?
Not necessarily. What we do, it's more of an apprenticeship. So being able to train somebody in, it's not something that you can learn from a traditional schooling or from, say, if you're working down the street at another sales firm, you're not gonna have the knowledge base that you need coming into the job. And by starting with family, we can start them at a young age, train them up. They go through the ranks until they get to a position where they're happy doing what they're doing, and we find the perfect fit for them.
And I would like to add one more point. I agree with my friend here. See, the knowledge base, when you train someone, right? You train someone, and as he said that from the starting, and he'll get the knowledge, and there is a trust factor. But there is never we doubt that he will leave or go from the company, and the knowledge base will go with him. Because if it is a family members and it's relatives, so they will stick to the company, and all of them has the same goal to achieve, and there is no threat of leaving the company, or the knowledge base will go away from us. So when we work close as a family, the knowledge base will stay with us, and everyone will work towards the same goal, and that makes us unique, and that's where we are thriving, because that's one of the key reason of our success.
Sure, and driving towards one goal is something we can all appreciate, right?
Definitely.
So it seems to me like what's important to your company is the long-term outlook of a company, the family ties, the strong relationships, and maintaining low employee turnover. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yep. That pretty closely aligns to our core values. So.
Okay. So how do you anticipate those core values incorporating in a joint venture? So we're looking at how we're actually going to operate our Medley joint venture in Thailand.
Yeah, that's a great question. So part of how I see us working is you guys have the technology, you have the capital, but we really have the know-how. We know how to implement it. We know how to roll everything out, and actually drive sales. And within our culture and relationships are extremely important. And for us to have that, that's really what we're providing you. That's what we'd be providing you long term, where you're giving us the products, you're infusing capital, and you're getting some subset of the profit that we make on those devices. So.
Okay.
And just to add, we are going to add lots of values because of our local influence, strong networking, and the connection that we have with the local market, with all the hospitals, with all the doctors, with all the companies those use these medical devices. So that's where we add values, and will help you to grow.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously part of the joint venture is that we are looking to leverage your guys' strong relationships with suppliers and customers, and just provide a new product, so that we end up in a mutually beneficial situation.
Yep.
So based on the assumption that the agreement drafted up by our CEOs here, we have a 60-40% equity split. Does that align with your expectations?
Yeah, I think the equity, when we talk about equity, I think we need to also talk about within equity, there's really the profit distribution, and profit distribution for us, we're not authorized to make those decisions. Those would have to go up to the next level when we're talking about like what is the yearly profit distribution going to look like. And I mean, that's not something that we can really speak to today, but we can nail down everything else from daily leadership, our staffing plans, how we're going to deal with issues or conflicts, and really any sort of decision-making type work that's happening. We can definitely speak to that, but as far as profit splits go, that's something that's going to need to be escalated up a level for us.
Certainly. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the staffing model of the operations. How do you envision this joint venture being set up so that it's successful for both of us?
So how we're running today is perfect, essentially. We don't foresee any changes needed to any of our hiring policies. We're planning on leveraging all of our existing staff. We will grow that if necessary, but right now it doesn't look like we'll need to grow that, since we're basically just adding products on to existing accounts. And as far as day-to-day leadership goes, myself or Lead Junior 2.0 will be really leading the daily leadership and leading the MedLead venture from a leadership standpoint.
Okay. Just from my general knowledge, so we're setting up this joint venture. Does that mean that the MedLead business goes away, or does MedLead run in parallel with the newly formed? I'm sorry. Does Lead Medical run in parallel with our new joint venture?
I believe that they're running. Think of it more as an umbrella, right? So we've got Lead Medical, and MedLead I would foresee as kind of like a subset offshoot where I myself will be leading it. And the only reason for any differentiation is the products that we're selling through MedLead, those are going to be higher technology devices, and I want there to be some sort of market distinguishing factor, even though it may be the same people that you're dealing with. Having a separation from a company standpoint, it really sets you apart. I mean, if you look at like Lexus, for example, it's a subset of Toyota Motors, you know, so you've got some differentiation there between brands, and you've got one that's higher technology, one that's lower technology, and they still all report up through the same structure. We believe that would be the best business structure going forward.
Okay, so it seems to me that your existing staffing resources would be more focused towards the current operating model, and that the joint venture being established would focus more towards selling the med devices.
That is
yeah,
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Like we have a portfolio, you know, we work with other companies, and as you know, my friend explained, when you get on board, and we have, you know, special facility for you because of the high-tech devices, and we'll use our existing network and, you know, strong influence on the government that will help you to, you know, distribute your products. But coming back to the staffing questions, yeah, I agree with my friend that we want to use the existing staff because we have experienced and local knowledge that give an edge and added advantage to your product.
Sure. So let me give you kind of a general overview of what we feel the operating model should be for this, or the staffing model, so to speak. We feel that there should be a general manager to oversee the entire joint venture, a manager underneath him to manage more of the day-to-day operations, 4 sales force members, and then 2 administrative assistants to help support the management. What we're proposing is Med Device bring in the managers, because we have the expertise of how the Med Device business model runs. We're a fairly large company and hierarchical in nature, so we think it's important to bring our management expertise to this joint venture. From a sales rep perspective, we would like Lead Medical to appoint 2 sales reps, and we can also appoint 2 sales reps for our 4 salespeople. And then our administrative assistants, secretaries, would be appointed by Lead Medical as well.
Okay.
So that's generally how we are seeing the model work here.
Okay. So you just to recap, a GM, an ops manager, 4 sales reps, 2 of those will be ours, and then 2 admins driven by us, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, well, I mean, it's interesting to see where you're coming from there. What other options do you have within the Thai market? Like, are you talking to other distributors? You know, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we've done extensive research in Southeastern Asia. So we have some partnership opportunities in Thailand, but we're also looking in Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Southeast China.
Okay.
So we have some other opportunities that we're exploring, but based on the relationship built by our founders on vacation, we're excited to kick off negotiations with you guys.
Okay.
No, it's good to know. We can help you. We can help you distribute your product on all this South Asian region, and we have already network based, and we are working for some other manufacturer on those areas. So definitely we'll help you on that, and that's where we'll again help you to grow, and it will be win-win situations. But as you were talking about the model, staffing model, as I explained to you earlier that we have this local knowledge of how the governments work here, and how the hospitals works here, how we are connected to the doctors, and how we can use our past experience to make them use your product. So if we get resource from in managerial level from US, that will not work, because the general manager and the staff here, they know the ground level and how it works on the ground.
Okay.
So having our local employee, Thai employee, will help much more than get US employee, because ultimately we both want to grow the business.
Sure.
So we don't want to get some US employee and come here and there is a gap in cultural discussion or the cultural emotional connect that you will miss, and that will impact our business, your business. But if you put a Thai employee or employee from my company, emotionally we'll connect to the people, emotionally we'll connect to, culturally we'll connect to the hospitals and the suppliers, and it will help us to sell more product and grow the business. So we want more staffing from local side than from US.
Let me put, what is your goal? I mean, you guys are a large company, right? So what is your goal at the end of the day as a company?
Our goal at the end of the day is being able to sell our products into the Southeastern Asian market. The resource that we're missing is a distribution network.
Okay, so I mean, if we go up even a level higher, your goal is really to give money back to your shareholders, right?
Correct.
So if I'm sitting in your seat and I'm thinking about how do I provide the best value to shareholders, right? I've got a GM who's probably making a six-figure US salary, an ops manager who's probably up there, sales reps that, if you're bringing in your own sales reps, those are going to be compensated against your compensation models. And admins, I think that's kind of a wash because we'd be sourcing those. But if I'm a shareholder and I know that there's a company that my company that I hold stock in can partner with and make an easy profit, and now they're basically throwing away overhead to go sit in an office, I don't know if that's really valuable. So I'm just complete transparency.
Sure.
We have everything needed to succeed in the market, and I don't want it to be a wasteful endeavor for you. You guys are already putting up a lot of money from an equity standpoint, and profit sharing is going to be something that we're tabling at a later time. So I want it to be beneficial for you guys, and I just don't think it'll be beneficial if you're throwing additional management overhead into it.
Okay, I will come at it from a little bit of a different approach. We are a large company, and we have our operating models. We have our standardized processes to follow. What we want to avoid is becoming a supplier in this situation. Is essentially giving you guys products to sell in the current operating model that you're currently going under. This is a joint venture, and so what we want to be sure is that our standard processes and our policies and procedures are followed.
What are your policies and procedures for staffing? Like what do you guys hold close in staffing?
We're a very data-driven company, so we believe that from the brand new employee all the way up to the CEO, that as long as a decision is made based on data and fact-based evidence, that decision seems to be a good one. We also will have to come up with some discussions around this, but we also have rules around nepotism, where we are leery of having management bring on their family for anti-corruption ethics purposes. So again, as long as it's a data-driven hire, we have no problem with it.
Okay.
So we can, we can talk about this more in detail, but we can, as we discussed earlier, that we have more experienced staff from the, from our company or from the local, but we can get, one executive from your company to leverage the experience on your devices, who can work under me, and that will help. So it will be like expertise and knowledge of your product from one executive from your side, but all the staff member, experienced staff member that we have on our team. So you can form a team with me being the leader for day-to-day decision making, and executive can be with me from your side to use his experience and knowledge of the product, and for the sales team we can get all the experienced team member from my team and local team.
So in the model that I laid out, would that put you as the manager or as the general manager?
General manager.
As the general manager, okay. Let's take a step back for a moment, because above the general manager, we also have our board of directors.
Yeah.
From our perspective, we'd like to keep that board of directors small to help make efficient decision making for the company. So any decisions day to day would be made by the general manager, and the decisions would be escalated up to this up to this board to make the decision. So ultimately, the board's steering the strategy of the joint venture.
So we, the way we work, and we are thinking to go ahead with this, is that general manager would be not the final decision of day-to-day happening, but anything else going up or higher than that, we'll talk with Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson, and we'll decide with the general consensus. They are going to meet in 3 weeks, to lay out the final plan based on our discussions. But we thought that anything go beyond general manager would be a consensus between Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson.
Okay.
As you said, board of directors, that's fine. Your boss and my boss will discuss and take the final call.
Sure.
So we can go to the, we wanted to discuss with you like 4 items that discuss on the memorandum with Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson. And we'd like to, like decision making that we talked just now, we discussed staffing. So we would like to touch upon profit distribution and conflict resolution.
Okay.
We touched upon that, and my friend told about profit distributions, and we are flexible on that. I conveyed that we are flexible, and every year based on the profit we can discuss how to go about that, and within 3 weeks Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson going to work on that. So I believe with considering the time that we have, we agreed upon on decision making, staffing, and profit distribution. Let's talk about conflict resolution.
Sure.
You would like to add anything, or how you want to go about that?
Well, being a U.S. company with primary or majority equity stake in the company, we'd like a conflict resolution to first be brought to management for ultimate decisions, and if a decision can't be reached, then we'd like to go to the California Court of Appeals, or whatever the California court is, in order to resolve our disputes.
Okay. As far as disputes go, for us, it's typically a handshake agreement. We can sort most things out at the management level. If it were to go beyond that, we would like to bring in an arbitration judge to arbitrate for us instead of going directly to the courts, lawyers. It's all very expensive.
Sure.
Keeping your shareholders in mind, I'd rather not go down that path. So if arbitration is something that you're open to, then I think that we are very close to
Yeah,
the deal.
and I would like to add, like, when my dad and your CEO met, they shared lots of things in common. Their views, the way they do the business, the way they look forward to the future. That's why they came on board, because they have lots in common, and we don't want anything in down the line in future, to dilute that by going to the court. Once you go to the court, the relationship will, it will not go in a good way, and it will impact your market shares and our market shares and the business. So we don't want to spoil that relationship. We are looking for a win-win, and situations to where we can gain, both you and all of us, we can gain out of that. So we don't want to go to any court settlement.
Sure.
We can meet and discuss and try to resolve the issues.
Sure. Who would appoint the arbiter, and where does that person come from?
We'll make a point on that to discuss between my dad and your CEO in 3 weeks down the line. But definitely it will be we'll hire someone third party from outside, where both of us will agree to.
Okay.
And we can when we'll do the final agreement and my dad will just talk to your CEO, we can point out that
Okay.
there are lots of vendors outside, and we can see who to hire for to help us in future. And I hope, again I'm telling you this, that I hope that will never happen in future, because we are looking for a good relationship with you in future, and we'll always try to avoid any conflict and
Okay.
try to win your business and our business.
Okay, so let me recap what I'm willing to put out on the table at the moment. What I'm willing to concede is we absolutely need our general manager to be appointed by Med Devices. We can provide, we can let Lee Medical choose the regular manager, and we can assign 3 of the 4 sales representatives to Lee Medical appointees. And we can allow one of your family members to be appointed into the position, and that's it. From a decision-making perspective, we would like our board membership to be 4 appointed board members from Med Device and 1 from Lee Medical, given that this is ultimately making decisions for a joint venture that has the Med Device name tied to it. And the conflict resolution can be made by a third-party arbiter as determined by our managers.
Really, that's a no-go. I have to be the GM in order for this to proceed. As far as staffing goes, we need to be able to appoint our sales reps. If in the future, you don't want any nepotism, we can put a no nepotism clause in our staffing plans going forward,
Okay.
so that from this point going forward, we don't have that.
Yeah.
But I really have to be the GM. We can have an ops manager from MedLee. We will put a no nepotism clause going forward, and we'll appoint the 4 sales reps. As far as the board goes, we need a 50-50 split on the board.
Okay. If you are taking over as general manager, we would need to at least have a 60-40 split given the distribution of equity.
So profit sharing, everything we agreed on. We
can do that. Deal.
Okay. Deal.
All right. So just to recap, 40-60 split, us, you on the board. Lee Jr. is daily leadership, profit distribution. We're tabling that for a later point. Staffing, we define the 4 sales reps. No nepotism clause going forward, and conflict is arbitration, third party. Does that sound about right?
Operations manager managed by
Correct. That's the one thing I
Med
forgot.
Devices. Board members are 3 for Med Devices, 2 for Lee Medical. And then yes, we tabled profit distribution, conflict resolutions, a arbiter, and sales force is 4 appointed by Lee Medical.
Correct. All right,
Okay.
All right.
we got it.
Thank you.